What's up guys, Bluntguts here. I am doing a watch your rounds video for you today, and I want to talk about these new summoning banners that are out right now. Now I know a lot of you have probably spent a lot of your shards, but we did have a new banner open up today, and we do still have these amazing ancient summoning banner going on right now. There's also just a standard 2x, which may not seem exciting, but if you are interested in summoning your divines and your rare summons this weekend, then this actually may be a better banner for you. So I would encourage you to really think carefully about this. The New Year special summon banner is it's pretty exciting, especially for developed accounts. If you've been playing for a while and you have most of the legendary heroes in the game, then this is going to put you in a spot where you can actually get a champion that's not on your account at the moment. So really exciting, especially for, like I said, for developed accounts. Personally, I am not going to be summoning on this banner. I summoned my shards on the 2x actually last night. I got a couple of legendaries, and to get a new one would have been one of the ones that I could have gotten. So I got no regrets. Ultimately, there are not all that many champions in the summoning pool that I really want. So I want to call your attention to that. So this can be kind of deceptive. So if you go to details here, we're going to read what it says here. The new legendary heroes summoned from this event only include heroes listed, without the event exclusive heroes and ancient summoning exclusive heroes. If you already have all the legendary heroes included in this event, this bonus effect won't apply. So, one, you can only get the champions that are in this list. So that's the standard lords. I guess it's the 7 standard lords plus Ajax. Then you've also got the, how many? I think there's 36 of them in here. Let's see. 36, 9. Yep. So then there's 36 legendary champions in the standard pool that you can summon. So any champions that you have that are in this table or in this table up here, you will not summon them. If they're on your account, you're not going to get them. And it was also confirmed that if let's say you got a Cratch or an Absin or I don't know, a Kriya, and you're like, this champion's horrible, I'm never going to use them, I'm going to turn them into Awakening coins. If you pulled them in the past, then from what we've heard anyway, you should not be able to pull them in this event either. So you should get a new champion, one that you have not pulled before, which is potentially really exciting. And it depends on your roster, like I said before. But what I would do, and what I did do for my account, is I went to my gallery and I went through and I counted up all of the champions that I don't have. I keep calling them champions. It's like raid habit, but all of the heroes that I don't have in this game. And so, looking here, I don't really need a Salazar, honestly. He doesn't really have a place in any of my teams. I don't have a bleed champion, or a good one anyway. So that would be good to just have to kind of have that card in my deck. But I don't really need him anywhere. I'd be okay with it, but I wouldn't be excited about it. Arrogance is the one that I would really love. I don't have an Arrogance, I do have Torador, so I want as many good Nightmare champions as I can. He is kind of like my white whale. I've wanted him for a really long time, and I've not been able to get him. So that's it. If I could get him, it would be worthwhile for me. But as you're going to see, the odds of getting him are still relatively low for me anyway. And so as you go through here, you're looking. Chaos champion, not going to be pulled there. Uredin, Ardia, these champions are not going to be in there. Special lord summons that only come from the ancient banner, such as Elder, they're not going to be in there. Alan, not going to be in there. So I've got a lot of champions I don't have, but not a lot of champions that could be summoned from this banner that make it worthwhile to get. So that's why I'm going to be skipping it for the most part. As you go down here more, I wouldn't mind a Constance, but I do think that she's not as good as Dolores, so I'm not really all that stressed. I finally got Dolores this weekend, excuse me, so yes, GR21's all done within a few hours. It was a fantastic feeling. I've been waiting for it for a long time, so 2,550-ish summons, I think, is when I finally pulled her, so kind of ridiculous. She should be a login champion or a fusion or something like that if they're going to make the inspiration buff as rare as they can. It doesn't make any sense to me, but not an issue for me anymore. If you haven't gotten Dolores yet, I'm so sorry for your pain. Nobody gets it like me, but you will pull her someday, so keep at it. And for reference, I was able to get 20k in Nightmare 3 and Nightmare 4. I was able to clear through stage 20 in all of the gear raids, and I was able to clear 21 in gear raid 2. I wasn't able to get GR 121 or GR 321. I think it's probably a gear level that you can get to where you can do that, but I was not anywhere close to it. But you know, it's not, you're not going to be completely cut off of content, but the upper reaches of content are going to be things that you just can't really attain until you do get Dolores. Unfortunately, that's just kind of the way it is. I guess you could probably use Constance as well. So I was just talking about her, but you do need that inspiration buff due to the fact that the game calculates. When they calculate damage, they first subtract the enemy defense from your champion's attack. So if you've got 10,000 attack and the enemy champion has 9,000 defense, all of a sudden your attack multiplier is only going to come in at 1,000. So you really need that extra inspiration bonus to kind of widen that gap and make sure that even against high defense enemies, you're going to be able to hit hard enough. Anyway, back to my calculation here. Continue to go through. Wouldn't mind Nyx, don't need her. Wouldn't mind Kai. A lot of people seem underwhelmed by him. I do think he seems kind of cool. Wouldn't mind getting him to play around with, but don't need him. Same thing with Razak. These three are all kind of the same champion at the end of the day. They do the same thing, with the exception Razak, I think, has an XP bonus that he provides, which would be great to have, but XP is becoming something that I'm not super concerned with. At this point, I'm getting it pretty passively from farming gear, and when I do need it, I pop into the XP raid if needed and do it there. But and then kind of to top that all off, Pelagios is, to my understanding, is kind of the upgrade over all three of these anyway. So at some point, you're going to want to get somebody like him who can do the job better. Moving down here, Sadie would be good. There's a couple of pieces in Codex where I think she would be helpful, in particular the current Codex. I don't have her, and that is kind of hurting my team, but even with that said, I'm still able to get top 10% and get some pretty solid rewards that way, so not a huge concern for me. I got Ezrin on my 1+1. Don't really care about him, but you do need him for the Esotericist faction trials, so something to keep in mind there. And then as far as mages, we've got Lasir, who I don't think is very good. We've got, who else am I missing down here? I don't know that I'm missing anybody else that's summonable. The problem is that most of these champions that I don't have, I can't get on this banner anyway, so it's not really gonna help me. And then kind of to further complicate it, so I have 3 legendary lords. I've been really lucky. I've gotten Torador, I've got a Twin Fiend, and I have got a Venoma, and I love all these champions. They're really fantastic. I'd love to get more legendary lords, like pretty much everybody in this game. And so one thing to keep in mind is that even though you might think to yourself, well, they're going to give me a new champion, and half of the legendaries that I don't have in this pool are lords, I've got a 50% chance to get a legendary lord, and unfortunately that's not the case. So if you go back to this details tab here and you look at this, so the ratio or the chance to pull one of these relative to one of these, so one of the legendary lords versus pulling one of these regular legendary champions in the larger pool, the chances relative to one another are still going to remain the same. So the only way that you're going to have an increased chance to pull a legendary lord here is if you literally have every single champion that's in this bottom table here. Then you'll be guaranteed to get one of the legendary lords that you don't have, but that's the only way to force that. I'm sure that there are some accounts like that. I have to imagine it's an incredibly small percentage of accounts. So, do your own kind of cost analysis on this. Does it make sense for me? Is it really going to enhance my roster? Because if not, then really what you could end up doing is going to Mercy on this and spending 220 rare summons for a champion that you don't really need. That's not really going to help your account. That's just going to sit there, and I know for the completionists out there, that might not really be something to stop you, but I'm kind of a more practical gamer, and I want to use the champions that I get. I want to advance my count as much as I can. So I would advise you to be cautious and really just think about it before you pull on this banner. Like I said, I did decide I pulled about 70 rares that I had stocked up on this banner last night, and I ended up getting 2 legendaries, one of which was Azor, which I didn't want, obviously, but he could have been, before I pulled him, he would have been one of the ones that was in the pool for the New Year summons. So exercise caution, guys. Don't waste your summons. I always think that more bites of the apple, pulling more legendaries is going to ultimately result in better results, especially in a game where dupes are so rewarding, which is really refreshing. So these banners are pretty standard. Standard 2 times rate up on legendary heroes. We have these almost every weekend, so I wouldn't feel compelled to summon, but if you're interested in summoning and you don't think the New Year special is for you, then I would go for that. Finally, I want to talk about the Ancient banners, because these are incredible, and as you can see, I have zeroed out my Ancients. I had, I think, about 20 of them total that I pulled so far. I should be getting a few more with reset tomorrow, as well as I'll do my Nightmare Void Rift clear, and I'll get one there, and I should also be able to hopefully pull another one together from shards from the Codex event. So I might be able to squeeze out another 10, and I'm hopeful, but well, that's not true. I'm not hopeful. These shards, they kill me every time. We get so few of them, and I think they release these banners. They're the best champions in the game. Those exclusive champions in the game are available on them, but you put so much pressure on these individual shards when ultimately they're really just rare summons at the end of the day with a special, summon pool. So you don't have a better chance of getting these. You're not even getting them on 2 times, unfortunately. So you've got a or is it a 2 times? Maybe I was wrong about this. So I guess you do have increased chances over rare summons. So it is like pulling on 2 times. You've got a 1% chance to get any of these guys. You've got another 0.8% chance to get a legendary lord from this pool. But the 10x is something that you really want to pull for this week. So Cyrus is incredible. He is a lord defender, but he also has some offensive ability as well via his summons, which is also really unique about him. He summons NPCs on the map for you, that fight for you, which is just really cool. Pelagios is an AoE marksman I talked about briefly before. He is really good. I would definitely be interested in getting him, although I don't know that there's a compelling use case for him in the game right now. Not that he can't be used in certain spots, but I just think there's other champions that admittedly aren't as good, but do the job just fine. So I don't know that he's going to really open anything up for you, but he's probably going to be like a future-proofing champion for your account. If you can get him, I'm sure at some point there's going to be some content that he is just an MVP for. And then finally, Uredin is, aside from Vierna, is the only champion in the game that has an execute function. Really cool champion. I haven't gotten to play with him, but I dream someday that I'm going to pull him. I doubt it's going to be this weekend, but he wrecks. He does a lot of damage. I don't know. I'm going to do a breakdown of his skills later on, and I'll talk a little bit more about him, but he is just somebody that you want on your account. So if you have the Ancient Summons, I don't think there's going to be a much better banner. What might stop you, if you're not all that interested in getting a champion that you don't have an immediate use case for, then Pelagios is not going to be for you. If you have Venoma, like me, Cyrus is not going to be quite as good for you. I think largely these lords are there for their stat bonuses, and Cyrus does have just a banger lord skill. He increases damage whenever somebody dies. I think it's kills or dies. Let's take a look at the gallery and see it real quick. But whenever, let's see, so Cyrus not obtained. Yep. So it reduces faction ally skill cost by 25%. That's base, that's what Venoma has as well. When an ally is defeated or retreats, increases the damage of other faction allies by 25% for 8 seconds. So this effect can be triggered 1 time every 12 seconds. So especially if you pulled in somebody like Vulcan, you reduce the redeploy cost. I'm sure you could just drop, like, say you've got like a level 1, like Selkath or something like that. You could just drop them in, immediately take them out, and all of a sudden you've got a 25% damage bonus for 8 seconds for all of the champions on your, or all the Esotericist champions on your team. So that could be really useful in some spots. I think in GR1, you could definitely kind of do similar to what's done with Laurel, are actually literally just with Laurel, because you're going to be deploying and then retreating her back to your team immediately anyway. So on top of getting a 50% rage boost from Laurel's talent, you'll also get a 25% damage boost as soon as all these champions, who presumably are going to be popping all their ultimates at that time anyway, as soon as they pop those ultimates, they're going to have a 25% damage increase as well. So super cool champion. I'll do a breakdown, like I said, later of him and of Uredin, and I'll take a look at Pelagios as well. But in any case, guys, thank you for watching. Happy New Year. Best of luck moving forward in 2024. Please like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.